teaches true vinyasa yoga, every single breath has a movement. You might hold a pose for multiple breaths, but every single time I'm transitioning, I should be teaching them how they should be breathing through that transition as well. Not going to happen right away, but that was really good. Okay, Ujjayi breath is the one that we probably experience the most, simply because this is the one that you will hear and most likely be teaching through your classes. It's not that I don't teach Ujjayi, it's just as teaching a basic level class. If you've been to my class, it's not easy. It's not like it's not physically demanding, but I want them to not be scared to come back to yoga. So I don't want to throw out so many things that it feels intimidating. I want it to feel like a space that someone that's never stepped. Today I had a girl who's brand new to yoga, and I know she's coming back. But if I came in and was like, okay, now we're going to do Nadi Shodhana, and we're going to do Ujjayi, and all these crazy things, she might not want to come back. You know what I mean? So Ujjayi is a great, great pranayama for vinyasa because it's probably the most calming breathing we have. When we do Ujjayi breath, the vagus nerves throughout the body, but there's a component of it that's near the glottis in the throat, which is the part that reverberates when you do Ujjayi. And because of that vibration hitting your vagus nerve, it lowers your stress hormone cortisol. And it can even increase your dopamine and serotonin and your happy feel-good chemicals. So it's pretty amazing. This is the one that we try and teach kids the most at school. I have seen another child beating another child up while doing this breath, which was not good, but also quite amazing because I was like, look, he's remembering, but not great. But it is without a doubt. What do I say here? Definitely just read these guys. Okay, so pretty much what you need to know about it. It's the most calming breath. It's not contraindicated by anything. You can do it anytime, anywhere, but it does have an audible component. So what I love about the pranayama is I say do it in your car, do it in the bathroom, do it when you're taking a test if you're a kid, do it when you're at work and your coworker that you absolutely hate is talking to you forever. Do it all the time. Because that's how you change your nervous system, not because you just meditate every morning, which certainly does change it, not because you go to your yoga mat as often as you do. It's when you take these breathing techniques and you literally implement them in your day. Red light, practice Ujjayi. Stop sign, that's a little quick, but I don't know. Just try and find a method for you. Maybe every red light for the next week, practice Ujjayi breath. See what happens. Ujjayi is tough to teach, not gonna lie. For some of us, you might not even have Ujjayi breath in your practice yet. For me, I got it on the exhale. Maybe it took me months. The inhale, I don't even think, I started practicing yoga when I was 16. I feel like I got it maybe when I was 20 on my inhale because it is a tough one. It's an engagement of the glottis, which is a part of your throat, unless you're a singer, that you probably don't think about that often. And because you're engaging and you're narrowing that space, in addition to the vibrational quality and the engagement of the vagus nerve and how that affects the biochemistry of your body, it slows your breath. And because it slows your breath, it calms you down. A slower breath will calm you down and make your energy more grounding. A quicker breath will raise your energy and wake you up. That's just a simple recipe for all the pranayama. So this is how I like to teach it. This is definitely going to be a situation where I might start coughing. So I always start teaching it with what I call letting go breath, which is just when you exhale that way, you're engaging the glottis. You're doing what you need to do. But Ujjayi is without opening my mouth. So the way I like to teach it, and I do this in class sometimes, and I'll show you guys, I would teach this or explain this rather with their eyes open before we go into it because it's a little tricky. I say, inhale through your nose, exhale from your mouth. So we do that. The next time you do that, you're gonna seal your lips halfway and continue the exhale out. So it looks like this. And do it again. Try it. Not like closed eye or anything. Just give it a shot. Do you feel how that forces you into it? Mm-hmm. So that's my favorite way to teach it. I have also learned as you breathe in and through your nose with your throat, try to say 8. And as you breathe out of your nose with your throat, try to say home. Close your eyes for a second, see if you can connect with that. So inhale through your nose, saying 8 with your throat. Exhale through your nose, saying home with your throat. All right, open your eyes. Raise your hand if that made any sense to you at all. Okay, yeah, so it's always gonna hit a couple people, but I don't think that's a great way to teach it. It was something that I learned years ago, but I keep it on there because whenever I teach this, I'd say, at least like 5 to 10 people are like, yeah, I get that. Basically, these are all different ways to teach someone to constrict their glottis in the back of their throat. That's it. So I'm gonna teach you guys, and then we'll review, and then you'll teach each other. Let's go ahead and just, yes, absolutely.
So, I think I have really good Ujjayi breath from Bikram, but Bikram's super hot, so your nose automatically opens up the minute you walk in the room. There are times where I'm trying to breathe, and I can't breathe out of my nose until I really start to work out. Do you just breathe out your mouth at that point?
Yeah, I wouldn't say constrict your breath.
But you don't get enough oxygen.
Yeah, when you're doing Ujjayi breath, you don't feel the presence of the breath at all nasally.
Right.
If you, let's just quick for a second, close your eyes and take 3 regular breaths. You should feel the breath in your nostril. Now do 3 Ujjayi breaths.
Okay, so I think I'm crazy. When we do that, when we breathe regularly, I feel it going in my nose and out of my nose. When we do the Ujjayi, where is it coming out of?
It's still wonderful question. It's I know, because it feels like it's caught there in your throat. It is still coming in and out of your
I'm
nose.
putting my finger under my nose and I'm where is it?
No, it's still coming out. It's still coming out, but you don't feel it as much. I honestly don't have a good answer to your question. I just know that the experience of the breath is going to be in your throat more, so maybe somehow that engagement, your body has associated with being hot, and so maybe the engagement isn't happening until your body's heated enough, since that's just our muscle memory, essentially. I don't know. But that was a good point.
So if you have someone in the class, my husband has a chronic stuffed nose, he can breathe through his nose, so modification is just breathe through your mouth?
Yeah, just breathe. Just breathe. No big deal.
There's other people that have that same
or you have people come all the time. I have people come to I have a huge sinus infection today, blah, blah, blah. And I always say the same thing. I say, breathe any way you can. Don't worry about making it long. And also for sinusy people, a lot of head down things can be really annoying. So for them, I usually give them 2 blocks, and instead of doing forward folds in down dog, I'll even have them look at the front of their mat and just keep their head from dropping, because that can build the pressure. But yeah, all this stuff is not that serious. Just breathe, You want them to feel welcomed. Go for it.
Do you know anyone, I know you said you used to have asthma.
Yeah.
Someone her husband or my stepdad who has that constant right here. Do you know of anyone who's practiced, whether it's asana or pranayama, that's I don't know.
Gotten past it?
Yeah.
100%. Because we're going to go right back to your story. It's about, at the end of the day, it's about clearing up energetic pathways in the body. And so I bet if your husband started practicing more vigorous breaths like Kapalabhati and things like that, in time, those things would clear up. It could also be a lot of things like their diet and, there's so many things that add to it. Any other questions? Yeah.
So the correct way to do the Ujjayi breath is to not open your mouth when you're
Correct.
breathing out? Okay.
Yeah, you don't breathe out of your mouth.
But when you But you first told us to practice that just to learn what it
I
feels
taught
like?
you to do that because that exhale, you engage the glottis. And if you just tell someone this is Ujjayi breath, okay, now do it. They're not going to be able to do it unless they can connect with this strange part of the body. So by teaching it in that capacity, they're physically connecting to that region in the body.
Because when I take classes and they're practicing this, sometimes they say you sound like Darth Vader or fog up a window, but they never told us to close our mouths. So we should be.
I mean, maybe that's their way of teaching it. It definitely, traditionally, the mouth is closed.
Okay, so maybe just to know what it feels like, have it open,
Yeah.
and then when you get that,
Those are,
now.
it's like just prepping you to connect to your body in a certain way, and then you close the mouth.
And should we be counting?
You can count with any of the breaths anytime you want. But I would say don't worry about the count if you're just trying to teach them a breath. Focus more on them learning the breath and breathing slowly, and then you can always bring in a count.
And how many times would you do that with our class?
How many times would you do the breath?
Yeah.
Again, I would say you want to go through this same process of teaching them, getting them into it, slowly releasing your information, and making sure they have at least 3 breaths on their own. So it depends on how you get there. I'm always going to say minimum of 5 minutes of pranayama. If you come to my class, it's 10 minutes. But every teacher is different. You come to some classes and they don't even do pranayama. They come right to child's pose or something. It's going to be what resonates for you as a teacher.
So if you're doing it for 10 minutes, it would be a lot more than 3 breaths.
Well, in those 10 minutes, I'm doing my Dharma talk. I'm bringing them into a breath. It's like there's a lot in those 10 minutes. It's not 10 minutes of just them breathing.
But Ujjayi Pranayama normally, like it's, they always say make a sound on the throat itself,
Yeah.
because then we can make a different, because else it will be similar to the normal. So like which I learned, if you are taking the deep breath in but taking it out, you have to make a sound, so there's a connection with the throat and this thing.
Right.
Is that right way? Like if you
Absolutely.
make a
I
sound.
say that all the time. I always say, hear the breath filling the space. This is an audible breath. You should hear the sound of your breath. It sounds like Darth Vader. Absolutely. You always want to encourage the sound of the breath, because also when people start hearing it in the class, you always have a couple people that nail it like right away. It encourages everybody else. Absolutely. Yeah.
With meditation, can you practice pranayama with meditation?
Yeah.
Or should you keep them separate? Would someone say oh well, if you're practicing pranayama during meditation, then you're not really meditating?
No. Bullshit. It's all the same. So this is pranayama typically is done before meditation. Meditation, if you're in a true meditative state, your breath is really shallow. You're not controlling your breath. You're ideally, there's different philosophies on meditation. I would say you're just okay with the thoughts that are coming into and out of your mind and not latching onto them. For me personally, there is no way in hell I'm getting to that place without starting with pranayama.
So you'll start in pranayama. It's kind of like in shavasana, we're supposed to let go of ujjayi breath at that point.
There's no pranayama no, you're right.
Oh.
There's no pranayama in shavasana. When you're in a true, in a shavasana state or any meditative state, your breath is naturally extremely shallow. Sometimes if you're in a really good meditative state, you're like, am I breathing? And you are. But so I believe them to be completely related. You're not wrong when you look at them as something separate, but I think that they're complementary.
Okay. So it's
Yeah.
good to start maybe 5 minutes pranayama, then 10
Yeah.
minutes meditation.
Totally, that's my morning practice. I probably only actually meditate for 4 minutes in the morning, because I do Ujjayi breath, and then I do 500 rounds of Kapalabhati, and then I do some work with the bandhas, and then I just sit. I do that during the work week for 8 minutes, and on the weekend 12. That's it. Nothing crazy. We got lives to live,
When you're done with the pranayama and you're just sitting with your thoughts, what are you doing then? Are you doing
Just
anything?
sitting. I let my breath complete. I don't think about my breath.
But
And
are you focusing on the thought? When you say you're letting them go, or
I just
whatever's happening?
sit. And a lot of times during the week, I might start thinking about the lesson plan that I'm teaching that day. And when I catch that, I take one deep breath in and out, and I come right back. And I'm trying to focus on not focusing on anything.
Trying to get nothing.
Yeah, but honestly, I'm gonna close the door on meditation right now because we could go like so deeply into this. But I will say for your meditation practice, start with 10 Ujjayi breaths. Inhale for 6, exhale for 8, maybe up it. Inhale for 8, exhale for 10, and then just stop breathing. Well, don't stop breathing. You know what I mean. All right, any other questions? I want to go over how to teach this, yeah.
You just said a certain sequence. Is there certain sequences?
Longer exhale, that's all you need to know.
That's it.
Longer
That's it.
exhale, yeah.
Longer
Less
exhale.
inhale, more exhale.
Whatever your inhale is, so you can find balance. Like one of the common ones that is, I want to say from the Hatha Yoga Pradikapa, but one of the like older ones is to match it. So it would be like inhale 8, hold 8, exhale 8. It's kind of aggressive. The one that will calm your nervous system and bring you into a parasympathetic state is just always about having a longer exhale. So if the inhale is 4, the exhale is 6. The inhale could be 4, the exhale could be 8. And it's also nice to work with kumbhaka, which is breath retention, which is just holding your breath, which we'll get to that in a little bit.
Is that the longer exhale? Is that standard across all of pranayama?
It's, yes. With dirga, yes. With ujjayi, not as much with nadi shodhana or anuloma viloma. Pretty much the two we're going over now, yes. Yeah, and those are the ones you're going to be doing the most. Okay, so I'm going to teach you Ujjayi. I want you to experience it, but also have your mind in 2 categories where you're both the student and the teacher. Think about what I'm saying as you experience it. We'll review and then you'll teach. Let's go ahead and take a comfortable seat. Go ahead and close your eyes. And gaze down at one point. Bring your hands to your kneecaps, and then just slide your hands back on your thighs a little bit. Feel your elbows relax towards your ribs. And just notice that expansion across the chest. Rise up through the crown of the head. And feel the breath in the body. You might feel short or long, comfortable or challenging. Wherever you fall along those spectrums today, simply notice where you are, doing your best not to judge that state. Today we're going to be practicing Ujjayi breath. This is ocean sounding or victorious breath. You can probably hear it quite a bit if you're coming to yoga often. We're going to use a specific technique to help us understand this breath. So I'm just going to have you peek your eyes open for a quick second. Look at me for a moment. So we're going to inhale through the nose and take a big exhale out of the mouth, which will look like this. After we do that a couple times, I'm going to guide you to seal your lips halfway through with the exhale. What I mean by that is this. I'll do it one more time. So you heard that sound carried through even as I continued my exhale from the nose. That sound is an engagement, the back of the throat. And that's what Ujjayi breath is. It could be a little tricky to achieve, so we're just gonna give it a shot like that, and then you'll practice it a few times with the mouth closed. So let's go ahead and invite the eyes back closed. Return to that tall spine. Return to the breath. And take a full breath through the nose. Open the mouth, exhale it out. Beautiful. Again, like that, inhale from belly, through ribs to chest. Drop the jaw, let it go. One more time. Inhaling from pelvis to heart. Exhale it out. Good. Now your next 3 cycles of breath, you'll just close the lips halfway through. Inhale. Open mouth, exhale. Seal the lips, continue the breath. Perfect. Again, inhale through the nose. Open mouth. Seal the lips, continue the breath. Last time on your own. Keeping the lips sealed. See if you can breathe in and out of the nose, creating that same audible piece of the breath. This is your Ujjayi breath. You can hear it filling our space. It's a very calming breath. It could be a little tricky to achieve, so whether you have the sound of Ujjayi or you're just trying, you can celebrate that as a mindful yogic breath. One more deep breath in and out. And then slowly begin to peek the eyes open. Okay. So, how was that?
Great.
Hmm?
Lovely.
Oh, lovely. I thought you said awkward. I was like, yeah, tell me more. So it's a tricky one to teach. That way of teaching it, I've just, through the years, that's been my favorite. Another thing we can do that's really fun, go ahead and I want you to cup your ears and take a breath in normally. Now take an Ujjayi breath. It should be, and then you can lower your hands. Like a seashell. Yeah. So if you can teach that in a class, just make sure you tell them what they're doing before they cup their ears. Because once their ears are cupped, they can't hear you. And I literally, that's like from my own experience.
What are we supposed to be hearing with our ears?
When you're breathing regularly, it doesn't sound like anything. When you breathe Ujjayi, it should sound like when you bring a seashell up to your ear. And then people also like to use, like, it sounds like Darth Vader. The exhale, like you're fogging a mirror. That's that breath. I always say just exhale audibly, and honestly, everybody here is so down with, like, the crazy breaths that, like, it works. But then I teach, like, a very small group at a physical therapy place, and they're not, like, really into yoga that much. So their exhales, I can't hear them, and I'm always like, all right, everybody. Like, I'll stop the show and be like, you gotta exhale like this. Pretend you're fogging a mirror. And I'll use that then if it seems like they're not connecting. Okay, so let's review. Step 1.
Comfortable seat.
Comfortable seat. Step 2.
Spine straight.
Sit up tall. I used a different one this time. The one thing I will tell you, and this is why you have your eyes open, this is a nice one. However, you're gonna see some people that go like this.
Yeah, I like the elbows to the bread.
Some people really like it, but some of your students are gonna go like this. So if this happens, as the teacher, I'm just gonna walk over and I'm gonna take my hands and I'm gonna gently just bring their elbows into their ribs. I'm just gonna go boop, and they'll get it. I don't even have to say anything because I'm teaching. I'm speaking the breath at this point, right? So just relax, not elbows back, just relax, right? So we sat tall. What's next?
Close the eyes.
Close the eyes.
Connect to natural breath.
Connect to natural breath.
Oh, I liked when you did the crown.
Lengthen through the crown of your head. You can also say, pretend there's a string extending from the center of your skull, and that string is being pulled upwards. Sit 1 inch taller. Okay, so we did all of our ingredients, and then what do we do?
You described what Ujjayi breath was going.
I demonstrated, and I even had you open your eyes. How dare I? You closed your eyes, you're already in it, and I opened your eyes again. That's fine. It's not like the most perfect teaching, but this is what I've noticed, and this is just me. If I go over it with them, and then I seat them, I center them, they connect to their breath, they sit up tall, and then we go to it, they kind of forget what's going on. So I just feel like it's nice to kind of get them into this headspace of their practice, see what you're gonna do, immediately practice it. Maybe that's the high school teacher in me, but demonstrations work well when we get to practice it right after the demonstration. So then I taught it to you. What do we do? Then when you practiced it, what did you do?
Mouth open.
Mouth open, how many times?
3 times?
3, yeah, do it a couple times. Because at least I would say 2, because again, that's helping them to connect with the region of their body they may never have connected to. And you might also see in your classes people go. It happens all the time, especially in a basic class. And that's when I'll say, really, that's why I often say drop the jaw. Don't be afraid to make a sound with your breath. Your exhale like you're fogging your mirror. Let the breath emanate from the back of the throat. Like I give all these cues so they know. But like I said, here in this studio, so many practitioners are gonna do that they'll, if they do the once, then they kind of get it. But if you have a brand spanking new class at a library or somewhere, you might have to actually open their eyes and show them, and that's okay. So then we did the 3, then we did 3 more with sealing the lips. I did the same thing. I told them exactly what to do for the first 2. The third one, I said do 1 more on your own. And then you just tried it. Do you remember what I said when you were trying it?
Mouth open and then halfway closed.
Yeah, right after that, when you get to the point where you're actually practicing Ujjayi on your own.
You're explaining it's an audible breath and it sounds like motion.
It's an audible breath, but I also encouraged you. I said whether you have this breath and you have that audible dimension of it, or you're just trying it for the first time, you're breathing mindfully, and that's really what's important. This is why I teach basic yoga, not because I teach an easy class, but because I try to make it something where you don't need to know shit about yoga, and you are so welcome here. And I promise that will make you a great teacher. Because people don't come back to yoga because they feel like they don't know what's going on. Yeah, totally. I totally get that. I am very blessed that when I really got into this practice, I was in college up in New Paltz, and there was like an amazing little studio, and there were just phenomenal teachers, and I didn't know anything, and I was an awkward, young adult, and I felt like they just opened their arms in the same way this studio does. But you are going to teach all over the place, and you might not end up at a studio that's very welcoming like that. So you guys, as your own teacher, the way you speak, even Ujjayi breath, even the way you teach a breathing technique can invite someone to come back or not, So just think of things like that. Any other comments, questions, ideas, confusion? Yeah.
Do you incorporate the 3-part breath in with Ujjayi?
I incorporate it all the time, but I don't want you to worry about that for today. If you heard on one of the inhale through the nose, exhale from the mouth, usually with that I'll say inhale from belly, ribs to chest, big exhale from the mouth, drop the jaw.
What does the Ujjayi breath do for you that the Dirga doesn't do?
It stimulates the vagus nerve because of the vibrational quality.
But then what does that do?
That calms the nervous system. It brings you quicker into your parasympathetic state than even Dirga breath is more about generating more lung capacity.
Yes.
Ujjayi breath is more about calming the nervous system, and it's because of that vibrational. Anybody ever go to physical therapy and you get stim? Mm-hmm. Why? Do you know why they give you stim?
I don't know. It doesn't work.
It doesn't work. I agree. But the theory behind it is that those vibrations, the same thing if you've ever done Cura shaking and things like that, those quick little vibrations are meant to calm nerves. Vibrational quality. That's why do you think music many people connect with music? If you've ever been to kirtan, right? The reason why is because it's a vibration and it affects our body in a different way. Good question. Any other? Okay, so you're gonna teach this. It's gonna be the same process of 3 minutes. How'd that feel last time? Is that enough time?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, let's go ahead, team up with your group.